Now, here's a great question, really good one that I think we all are interested in. So, we're going to ask Erica, how important is it to understand and to stick to my type? I think those are two questions, to understand my type and to stick to my type.
Stick to it in terms of when you're submitting yourself?
I think it is. It's through submissions, So if I'm submitting something and I have a sense of my type, should I stick right to that when I'm submitting?
Oh boy, that's a pretty loaded question because for the most part, yes. If you're female and they need a female, yes. If you're a male and you think, oh, I could play this part, I mean, I'd be very, careful with the broad strokes. But when it comes to very small things, if you're missing one or two things that aren't maybe at the top from your type, I think that you can get away with it. But your type, I mean, you have to know your type first, right? So you have to really be able to, identify what age range you play. Are you incredibly dramatic, or are you, is your pace more comedy able, if you will? What about your essence comes across? Because type isn't just about what age you are and how you look. Type also very much takes into consideration your essence, because you use that famous, you could be a truck driver, but what kind of truck driver would you be?
It's a combination of age range and but also most especially essence and personality, and also the combination of those two. So let's do it for instance. All right, suppose you have your casting and it says what we want is a 6'5" football player.
Okay.
All right, and suppose I'm 5'2". So should I submit to? And I play football. Should I submit to? Should I submit to that?
Well, I think I would ask you more questions. I would say, is the project primarily about football? If it is,
let's say yes.
Okay, and are you a very expert football player? Like, were you pro football?
Let's say yes.
Okay, then I would say that your height is probably less important than your actual football experience. And yes, you should submit, knowing you might not get chosen probably based on your height, but at least they would know who you are because you have this very unique special skill that is a part of the cast.
So that's not wasting your time as casting director?
I wouldn't say so, but I think some casting directors would feel like it is, especially if for some reason they know that this character absolutely has to be 6'2" or taller based on X, Y, and Z, and that's the reason it's put in the breakdown. So you are taking a risk of submitting yourself, and you are taking the risk of being perceived as, oh, I'm not reading the breakdown, therefore I'm not so professional, therefore I'm submitting stuff. But you can also take the other side of the coin of being like, I have read the breakdown, I am a professional, I know that these special skills of mine are so specific, and you may want to even say, if you're allowed to submit a note, which all the software I use, actually you can, and you can say, I'm full disclosure, I'm 5'2", but wanted to submit based on the fact that I have pro football experience. And that then makes me go, oh, that's a pro actor. They know that they're not really right, but they are right in some ways, and that's okay. So that would be, but each situation's unique like that. That detail.
So that's what we have to listen to. As you say, it's really site specific. It's very much so. I'm wasting your time, my age, if I said I'm going to submit for a 6'5" football player. Now I'm wasting her time. But
right, if they say we need a 25-year-old, exactly.
And I'm using myself as an exaggeration, but that's the case. Being smart about that, and then really, please listen to the savviness of it, which is if you have an opportunity to show that you're a professional, which is that little note, that's really good. That really, really helps. Because it gets the casting director's mind thinking. Oh, yeah.
Exactly, and you never know, maybe there's another character. First of all, scan the breakdown, because maybe there's another character that's a pro football player that is shorter, and then yes, don't submit for every role. I would definitely say if there's an entire breakdown or casting notice of 20 characters, and you feel like you're appropriate for 15 of them, that's too many. It really is too many. You might be appropriate for 2, maybe 3 tops, but you're not going to be appropriate for every single one, and it's hard because sometimes there's just, a manual worker, maybe say it's a forklift operator, and let's say there's a news anchor. Well, maybe you think you're right for both, but really, in my mind as a casting director, they're actually two very, very different things, and that the physicality and the essence of those two characters have a completely different vibe. So even though you could operate a forklift and you could be a news anchor, I would say submit for news anchor,
Right.
not forklift operator,
And that leads us around to the beginning of this question, which is know your type.
Yes.
Really know your type. Really know the essence of personality. Yeah. So I would be a very esoteric, perhaps, crane operator.
Right.
And probably a little closer to the news reporter in some ways.
Exactly.
Yeah, good.
Exactly.
Great. Hope that helps.